Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much, Dick. I am honored to be here with you this morning. I first want to acknowledge Governor Riley. I owe a special load of debt to him because he made it possible for me as an African-American woman from South Carolina to pursue a PhD. He put in place a special program that made it possible for minorities and others who were underrepresented in terms of their PhDs to go to college and to provide the resources for them to make that possible. And I attended Clemson University under that program. Thank you, Governor Riley, for making that possible for me and for others. I want to say thank you to Don Fowler, who's the co-chair of my campaign committee. We appreciate you tremendously. I want to also acknowledge my friend and sister, the Honorable Gilda Cobb Hunter, who's provided me invaluable advice and support and comfort during these trying times. I want to say that I am honored to be here with my fellow South Carolinians, fellow Democrats. This is the best time, I believe, in the history of our country for us to be Democrats and for us to be clear about who we are and the values that we hold. You know, I grew up in rural South Carolina, born in Brook Green Gardens. My father was a caretaker there. I was raised in Plantersville, a metropolis of about 2,000 if you count the trees, I'm told. And attended Plantersville Elementary School, graduated from Chalky High School, had the privilege of going to the University of South Carolina my freshman year before transferring to Howard University, where I was able to get scholarships. But out of 8 children, I was the first to go to college. My father had a 3rd grade education, my mother 5th grade. And none of my siblings before me had the opportunity to go to college. And when I went off, my father gave me a 3-speed bike as my mode of transportation. That's what I drove all through Columbia and Washington, D.C. and in Howard. And my mother gave me a portable sewing machine. And that's what I used to clothe myself, right? And I grew up on my father's small farm. I helped him in his tobacco field. I helped plant tobacco and hand tobacco. And I worked with my mother as a maid on Myrtle Beach. Only in this great country that someone with that kind of background could stand up today before you as the Democratic nominee for the 7th Congressional District in South Carolina. This party has made it possible for me, as an African American, but also as a woman, to dare to offer myself for service. Because this party is the only party in this state that has ever elected a woman to Congress. We've had 5 women elected. The Democratic Party is the party who put those women there. And we will do it again in November. We must do it because our children are depending on us. Future generations are depending on us. People ask me the story, why did you come back to run for the seat? Well, I never intended to leave. Because when I went to Clemson in the 70s to pursue my master's in agricultural economics, being the first African-American woman to ultimately get that degree, I had no intention of going to Atlanta. Does that make sense? Yeah. No intention. But I met my partner of a lifetime at Clemson. A cute, handsome little Nigerian. Beautiful smile. He was completing his master's degree in civil engineering. And we got married in my front yard in Plantersville. Didn't have any invitations, just told people we're getting married. And they just walked down the street and joined us in the front yard. But when he graduated in '76, he could not find a job here. With a master's degree in civil engineering, he could not find a job in South Carolina. He had to work flipping pizzas. That's what he did with a master's degree. So he started looking outside of South Carolina and ultimately got a job in Atlanta. And when I finished a year later I joined my husband, as most women would do. So that's how I ended up in Atlanta, but my heart has always been here. I ended up coming back and doing my PhD and studying the financial stability of South Carolina's public water systems. And I continued to work since 1987 as an associate of the Thurman Institute of Public Policy at Clemson. So my heart has always been here, and I've been working for the state. And when I came home this summer to look at our family home, my parents have been dead nearly 20 years now, and saw my family home that my father built with his hand, my mother's dream home in such ill repair and disrepair, I knew it was my responsibility to restore it. And I looked around at my community and saw that my community was in disrepair. That our community was not still connected to the public sewer system. That we didn't have public libraries. We didn't have the kind of infrastructure we needed for economic development. That people still have to drive into Georgetown to do just basic shopping that most people take for granted. I knew that it was my responsibility. When my family and friends told me that our children weren't inspired to even finish high school, not to even mention go off to college, I knew that it was my responsibility to do something about that. So I made the decision, a very difficult decision, to return home. And then later on in that year, I made the more difficult decision to run for the